Rainbow Week. So in March, we have Rainbow Week, Clover Week, Potato Week, and the Spring Festival. And of course, the excitement of beginning our March curriculum is the return of the Fairies and Rainbow Week. So if you are just joining us for March and for spring, back in autumn we bid farewell to the fairies because they kind of mimic the birds and butterflies who migrate. So we bid farewell to the fairies in autumn, and they return at the first rainbow of spring. So Rainbow Week, we get to greet the fairies, which is very, very exciting, and kicks off lovely, lovely stories. So we begin with a little bit of a storm, Brother Wind and Sister Rain, and then Father Sun parts the clouds and we see this beautiful rainbow. And I think Hamilton, Petty Palm and Hamilton go to chase the rainbow. And then of course, before they get to the end of the rainbow, it dissipates. But then the fairies return. So they see the fairies coming, and the beautiful little verse is, "At the first rainbow of spring, the fairies return to dance and sing." So Pearl and her ring of fairies are greeted back in Wondergarten, and it is a beautiful reintroduction. And then Pearl gets to actually really fully introduce each one of her fairies with "the fairies are here." And this is a really sweet story, really celebratory story. The beginning, we have this song, "End of the Rainbow," and this is a really sweet one, and this one often makes me cry because it can just be a sweet, innocent song of the wonder of the rainbow and what's at the end of the rainbow. But sometimes we've also used this idea of the rainbow to help children understand when someone we love passes or when a new baby's born. So this idea of going over the rainbow. And even last year, my grandmother had actually passed right on this week, and there was a rainbow. And so I got to use that to help my children understand that great grandma had gone over the rainbow. So we've used this for our children, and it's really a gentle way to help them understand that if you need to. Of course, it can also just be pure innocent wonder. It could be a pot of gold. It could be whatever you want. So it's one of those songs that can mean what you need it to mean in that moment. But when you listen to it, sometimes it just makes me tear up. It is beautiful though. Really, really beautiful story. And then the fairies are here. This is a very exciting, the fairies are here, the fairies have come, and then you get a full introduction of each name and color of the fairies, which is really, really sweet. So here you really get to start to get to know who are the fairies of Wondergarten, introduced by Pearl. And now my recommendation, especially if you're new, yes, I see some teary faces, yes. If you are newer for just joining in March, my recommendation for circle time, because we use, we get involved with the songs and stories in the circle time portion of our day, I like to recommend choose the first verse of one song, because usually in each week we have a few songs for you to choose from, but sometimes it can be, what do I do with all of these songs in circle time? Choose the first verse of one song and focus on that, learn those words. Of course, you can enjoy all the music of that week through listening, through streaming, Yodo or CDs, but if you're really focusing in on circle time, choose which song you want to focus on, whether you want to focus on rainbow or fairies, and focus on the first verse of one song, and that really breaks it down in a way that that child can really begin to soak in that song. You can repeat that and sing that with them. So you can choose either, or of course it is Rainbow Week, so you might want to focus on rainbow, but if you have a fairy lover, you might want to focus on fairies as well. I know some people, another thing that I will mention, some people like to wait to listen to the songs until that week. So some people like to listen to the albums on shuffle, and you can kind of get a preview of what's to come. But another way you can also do it is waiting for that week. And then, especially if you wait till the audiobooks and hearing the songs in the audiobooks, I feel like that's where you get the songs in their full glory with Nathaniel singing as the gnomes. And yes, I do have a question here. Are you going to be in the audiobooks as the fairies? Yes, indeed. So I will be joining Nathaniel here very soon to get in here singing and narrating as many of the fairies. So that is going to be a lot of fun. All right, so End of the Rainbow and the fairies are here. Choose your favorite, reduce it down to just a portion that you feel like you can remember and recite to your child, and enjoy those songs this week. All right, so our first morning activity of spring, modeling beeswax. Now, if you were here for autumn and winter, you probably remember our rhythm of usually that first morning we start with Play-Doh, and that is a modeling activity, kind of a great pre-writing activity. It's strengthening their hands, but Play-Doh is nice and pliable. Now that we're heading into the second half of the year, I'm going to offer and suggest kind of the next step. Now, this is an optional if you have a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, still a little one, or if this is your first time, you could still opt to begin your week with Play-Doh. But if they've done a lot of Play-Doh and you feel like they're ready for the next step, I will suggest modeling beeswax. It is definitely a different experience and sometimes can feel super hard, but you'll want to warm that up either in your hands or sometimes I've even put it, I have a proofing setting on my oven that keeps my oven around 95 degrees. I'll even put the beeswax in there to kind of warm it up. So they'll have to work their hands a little more, but again, it's amazing to see what they can create with different mediums. So this is, again, a wonderful pre-writing activity. They're going to be strengthening their hands even more. It's great modeling and great creativity. So your choice, whether you want to just kind of go back to a Play-Doh, but if you'd like to get some colors here, of course, more colorful spring, fairies are returning, and beeswax feels like so perfect for spring. So if you'd like to give modeling beeswax a try, definitely go ahead. It can be a lot of fun. Then our main lesson for Living Arts Day, which is our life skills day, is window washing, but this is a really fun way to spin it. So you see here, if you have a set of window crayons, I like to draw a rainbow on the window and make a beautiful scene coming through the window. And then the activity is let's wash it off. Now with window crayons, there's a few ways you can approach this. Often I like to give them a spray bottle and a rag and just kind of let them enjoy the process of washing. But you'll notice that sometimes it just feels like the window crayons are just smearing around. So quick tip to when you're ready to finally fully clean off, window crayons clean best if you get a sopping wet rag and just fully like wipe it down and then come with a dry rag and it comes right off. If you use kind of that damp-ish rag, it can feel like it just smears around forever. So make a nice scene, let them wash it off, and then repeat. Then give them the crayons, see what they create. So it's this lovely kind of looping activity of free creation drawing and then the life skill of cleaning and washing. Because of course, if you're going to wash windows, you need something to clean, right? So it is a great way to get them cleaning and then get them creating and as many times as you'd like. All right, I feel like I was a little choppy there. So window washing, my kids love this activity. All right, day 2, baking day morning, is when we tend to do our kind of little handwork style crafts. We'll be making a rainbow ribbon wand. This is lovely, simple, but a really sweet way for the child to make their own toy, something that they can actually play with. And then I love using these ribbons in circle time with the rainbow song and kind of using those to create rainbows as we sing that song in circle time. So we do have a rainbow wand kit in our supply kits, but if you want to just use just a simple wooden dowel. This is also a great chance for some cutting practice. If you have a spool of ribbon, they can cut that off. And then of course, the main kind of activity part here is them beginning to tie their ribbon on. So this is a great chance to slow down and really just show them how to tie. Now with a little one, I would probably fold it over and have them just pull out that little piece and kind of work together on tying with them. But the older one, it's a great tying practice. Now at the end, either you could use a kind of a mallet style dowel with the little wooden ball at the end so the ribbons don't fly off. But if you don't have that, if you have some leftover candle rolling beeswax, you can also warm that up, or modeling beeswax, and just put that on. You can kind of see here in this picture, this little nub here is just a bit of beeswax. So you can use a bit of beeswax or even tape, something just to make sure that those ribbons don't fly off once they get into their wand yielding. So really, really sweet one. But of course, guide your children to make sure these don't end up in other children's faces, right? A question on if these will be restocked in the shop. Yes, I'm sure they will be. I know our shop team is working on making sure everything for spring is coming up. All right, back to March. Day 2, baking day. This is where we're gonna do rainbow focaccia, and this is a really, really fun one because it feels like free creation in baking. So you're gonna make your focaccia dough. I like to make this dough the day before and then keep it in the fridge overnight, because making this dough the day of, it can kind of be cumbersome. So I make the dough the day before. So this is, make a little note of your planning. You'll want to start this dough the day before. And Your recipe is here, and also take a note on the yield here. So one of this recipe will do kind of one 9x13 pan, or if you have our child-sized pans, this recipe will do about two, they'll fill about 2 of those. So if you have just 2 siblings, that's perfect. But if you have a class, you're gonna want to multiply this recipe by how many pans you're really gonna need. So just take a note of that as far as the yield for this, depending on how many you need. But this one is so fun. You make the dough, get it in their little pans, and then you get oil on the top, and they get to just get their fingers in the top of the focaccia. It's really, really fun. It's just a tactile sensory experience. Just get their fingers to get all those little nubbly bits, and then give them an array of vegetables to, of every color of the rainbow to just create. They can make rainbows, they can make gardens. They're just beautiful. So every color of the rainbow, from peppers and onions and cilantro, anything you want to put on there. And then I like to just sprinkle with it a little bit of salt on top before I bake it in the oven. But they're beautiful, it's delicious, and it's again such a fun free creation activity that then they get to eat and enjoy. So then of course you'll bake that up, and they're just beautiful and delicious. And this is actually a special one for me because this is actually an activity I did way back when in my LifeWays training, when I was doing my training before all of this happened, before Wondergarten. So this is a little nostalgic for me to think about my training days. So this is a really, really fun one. Of course, we have that gluten-free recipe right after in our second editions, which is so lovely. I know a lot of you have been really enjoying those gluten-free recipes, especially with sun bread. You know, some of those yeasted breads can be tricky to do with gluten-free, but Jessica Diamond has done such an amazing job making sure all of these are very well adapted for you gluten-free families. And of course, vegan, refined sugar-free, anything you need is always on that next page. So very exciting. Then our painting day is a nice, simple, but lovely kind of rainbow themed painting day. I love this way to use block crayons to make little rainbows. So if you take just one of each color of a block crayon and tape them together, they can just make these beautiful rainbows and color the rainbow. It's lovely. You can also do this with stick crayons. If you only have stick crayons, just tape them together, and they can draw rainbows that way. It's a lot of fun. And then of course, you guessed it, painting day will be painting with the rainbow. Now there are 2 ways to do this depending on what you'd like to do. Kind of the classic Waldorfy way would be to just offer the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and for them to see how they can create the entire rainbow with just those 3 colors. So they would paint their red, so you would prepare for wet on wet watercolor. I do have a tutorial, a QR code right there. It'll take you to our YouTube so you can see how to prepare for wet on wet watercolor, which will really help if you're doing the 3 colors, because it just helps the colors blend on the paper. Paint your red on top and then paint that yellow. It'll overlap with the red a little bit to create the orange. Then you paint the blue right below, overlap with the yellow a little bit to create green. And then if you put a little bit of red on the bottom, then you'll create that purple and indigo, and you'll have the whole rainbow with just 3 colors. So that's one way. Another way, of course, you can just give them an entire rainbow palette and just let them enjoy all the colors of the rainbow and see what they create. So 2 ways: free painting, rainbow themed, however you would like to do it, whatever feels best for your children, and what you think they'll respond best to. All right, so Rainbow Week, it is a lovely start to spring. And of course in March is really when we get the most rainbow weather. Of course, sometimes when we get rainbow weather, when it's rained and then it's sunny, our kids just go on rainbow watch. So it's always really fun. So very sweet week, very sweet story. So exciting to welcome the fairies back, and a lot of really beautiful activities. Question here, looking for the build your own March supply kit. Most of the items are out of stock, as I mentioned. Hopefully those will be in stock soon. Our shop manager has actually been out of town for the past few days. She'll be getting back in this week and hopefully getting all these things back in stock for our spring sale next week. So be sure to check back, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter. I know I give a lot of updates here in the community, but our newsletter, email newsletter, is a great place to keep up with updates and sales and lots of great stuff. So be sure to sign up. You can sign up via our website. Our email newsletter is just a really great way to stay in the loop, make sure you're seeing all the new sales, restock announcements, even some things that I miss on the community, because our shop manager is able to let you know right away when things get back in stock. So definitely sign up for our newsletter email newsletter if you're looking for some restock announcements.